Hello everybody, it's Philly Kuts with another Hump Day Haul. We got the big 100, number 100. That's right, we've had 100 Hump Day Hauls. You know, where I get together with you every week and we talk about my stack of overpriced comic books. Cause I'm stupid and I buy brand new. Cause I can't wait. Alright, I wanted to thank all of you guys. In this episode, we may even have a double episode, as was suggested to me by Sean Mitchell, one of my longtime viewers. But first, I want to give some of you guys a shout out, recognize my viewers, those of you who watch me week after week. I appreciate it so much. You know, if there's one thing in this life that we have a finite resource in, that is time. We all have a very limited amount of time in this life, and we're only given so much time in this life. And I know that my format, the way in which I conduct my Hump Day Hauls, which is just a long form, unedited format, sometimes going in excess of 30 minutes, it really is an honor to me that you guys can take the time out of your week to listen to me, to watch me, give you my opinions of the comic books that I buy. You know, by no means am I an expert in comics at all. As a matter of fact, probably most of you know more about comics than I do. I merely discuss what books I buy and the experiences that I have with those books. Now, I'm thinking of, expanding the format. I'm thinking of talking maybe more than just about comic books. So I'm going to kick that off this week and discuss Suicide Squad, the movie. But we'll get to that after I give you guys your shout out. Also, I am going to break my embargo on beer reviewing. I'm going to give kind of a pseudo beer review for this special beer occasion. You know, before Philly Kuts did comic book hauls, Philly Kuts was mainly focused. Do you like how I'm referring to myself in the third person? Anyway, Philly Kuts was busy doing tons of beer reviews. And if you look in my playlist under my YouTube channel, you will notice that I have done about, I think about 75 beer reviews, give or take a few. So if you ever want to check those out, go ahead. It was something that I used to enjoy, but I got a little tired of it and stopped. But I figured for this occasion, we'll break street date, as they say in the video game industry, and we're going to review a beer. We got Brooklyn Defender IPA, and I selected this beer specifically because it is being branded as the official beer of New York Comic Con. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a very good camera here, something that I've been promising to update for ages. It comes in at 6.7 ABV, alcohol by volume, and it's a fresh bottle, which is good. Let me give you guys a little bit of a description here. The Defender is constantly vigilant, whether an artist sketches or a brewer stirs or a musical voice rises above the clamor. He is there to guide and guard against the creepy blandness. He is armed only with daring red malts and explosive, juicy West Coast hops, yet emerges victorious. Ours is a world of light and fury and song. This is its Defender. The Defender was forged with our sidekicks at New York Comic Con as the official beer of the convention. Defender IPA is now present all year long wherever Dewey calls. The malts, we have Pilsner Crisp, Carker Red, Cristal, Hops, Pilgrim, Willamette. That's from Oregon, folks. Cascade, Mosaic, Amarillo. Let's give it a shot. For the cap collectors, those of you who used to watch me, remember that. Let's crack it, baby, and see what comes out, alright? Remember, this is a double issue. I gotta fill it up with some content. We're gonna get right into the shout-outs. I'm gonna enjoy this brew while I do the shout-outs, and I'm gonna randomly spout out thoughts about this brew. Pours with a nice 2 finger, well, 1.5 Philly Cuts finger head. It's looking kind of iced tea-ish, right? That's kind of the color here. I'm saying it's like a slightly red. Camera doesn't give it any justice. Let me put it up to the light. Oh my God! Don't do that, Cuts. I remember the outroar that caused, the uproar it caused with some people when I did that. Let's get a whiff. Hard to say. I'm kind of getting a lot of the malts here in the nose of the beer. All right, let's give it a quick taste. Not bad. Not bad. Very dry on the aftertaste. Very dry finish. Very hoppy as well in the aftertaste, and it lingers with you for quite a while. I'm getting a lot of the malts in the beginning. Getting a bit of caramel. Getting a bit of a grapefruitish kind of taste, citrus taste from the hops. We'll let it sit for a while and we'll keep going, folks. You know, I was thinking of doing a series called Books and Brews, in which I would pair up a beer with a comic book. So, you know, like I'd read Superman and be drinking and reviewing a stout. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. Books and Brews. You let me know what you think, and if you want to see that, maybe Cuts will return to some beer reviewing. All right, the shout-outs, people. Thank you so much. Without you guys, the Hump Day Haul would not be possible because I would just be talking like a crazy person into a camera, which is what I kind of feel like when I do these. But when you guys leave comments, it lets me know that somebody's out there and somebody is watching what I do. And if I didn't have that, there really would be no point. All right, so big shout-out to Sean Mitchell suggesting the double issue today. So if it's too long, blame him. All right? Wasted Youth Comics and Action Figures up in Nova Scotia. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope everything's going well with your house. Thank you so much for all the comments and suggestions you've left me over the couple years. And I'm glad to see that you're enjoying DC books as much as I am. Ghost Who Walks 2040 or 2040. Very flattering comment you left for me the other day when you remember that I was wearing this shirt in the very first Hump Day Haul, my Green Lantern shirt. Although I don't even think I was collecting Green Lantern yet at that time, which is funny. And you remember that I picked up BPRD number 122. And notice how quickly this head is dissipated. We are getting some nice lacing on the glass, though. Shout out to Tattoo Corn. Shout out to DN8 Comics. He also has another YouTube channel, as does Wasted Youth Comics and Action Figures, so check them out. DN8, I'm glad you're enjoying Green Lantern. Shout out to JT. Shout out to Bad Ghost Comics. I don't know if you have a horror bent on your comics. Mr. Chupacandre, big shout out, fellow boxing fan. I am looking most forward to the potential super fight between Canelo Alvarez and Triple G. Triple G needs to be challenged, folks. He has unbelievable knockout percentage, something like 98%. But I gotta ask you, who has Triple G really fought, right? It's either everybody's scared of him or what. He just can't get a good fight against top-tier talent. Comic Crypt of Castle Hills, shout out. Fear Have, shout out. Shop King Comics, thank you so much, man. I appreciate all the kind words that you have left for me. I'm glad that I've entertained you. J-Rocks, West Coast, baby! Yeah! Hope to see you comment more on my channel, and I hope that you're still doing comic book hauls. Mr. Canes 2011, Ghost Man, Yes, I agree, The Force Awakens adaptations for Marvel sucks. Friar Tuck, you're right, I should be ordering my comics on DCBS if I do want to save money, but the thing is that, you know, the Hump Day Haul for me is an experience that I look forward to every Wednesday, and part of that experience is being able to go to my local shop and, you know, to kind of run into regulars there, run into other people there, chit-chat a little bit about comics, just being able to peruse the rack and seeing all the different comics that are there, the smell of the comic book shop, the sounds of the shop. It's just an all-around great experience, and I enjoy supporting the local business. You know, too many mega shops, too many mega stores are driving the little guy out of business, and I still want to have a place where I can go and get my comics. It's getting better as it warms. All right. Laser Duchamp, Prodigen. He watches me on my playthrough channel, Oh New Retro Cuts, although I haven't posted anything new on that channel, I'd say, in about 8 months. Jetfire, thanks for the suggestion to my girlfriend for Paper Girls. I appreciate it. Just Me Being Me. Thanks for the math and helping me try to figure out the math behind DC's new bi-weekly format. Emerald Warrior, thank you. Legit Pack-a-Lunch. Now, Legit Pack-a-Lunch suggested that I do a podcast. Now, the only way that I would do a podcast is if I had maybe someone else to do it with. So if anybody out there who has knowledge about setting up a podcast or is maybe thinking of doing a podcast, let me know. I'd be down. I would definitely be down. The Comic Book Villain Girl, shout out. Bambusa. It's Tilts. I have not watched any of the WB DC shows. I just do not have an interest in The Flash, and I've never gotten into Green Arrow. So I don't think that's going to happen. Earl Grey. This dude featured me in one of his videos in which he compiles YouTube comic book channels, comic book haul guys such as myself, and I guess I was featured in that, and that was pretty cool to see me in that light. So Earl Grey, I hope all is well, man. Keep plugging away. Rob Wise Guy 82, hope you're still doing those at work hauls. This guy would actually upload comic book hauls while he's at work. Yeah. Balls. Dave Booker, Rochester in the house, fellow upstate New Yorker. Regis Shell, Yui's Comics, shout out to Puckaluck, Smile Dance 123, Alpha Pump Athletics, Blue Solo 715, Andrew Bennett, who said he is not a cape and cowl guy, but he enjoys watching my show. Touch of Chaos, Comic Close-Up, my old buddy Jay Schoon, who once in a while posts up on here and let me know that he's still reading BPRD. I do not know if I could session this beer. The dry finish is just not really doing it for me. Okay, the R. Danny, Maria E.F., she suggested that I do a segment on Mignola and other horror comics, Mike Mignola-verse, which I've been pondering and trying to think about doing, but I don't know, I guess we'll see. I know I've been saying that for like a year, but you never know. Warthog, shout out. BC Comics and Friar Tuck Tucker. My girlfriend's dog is named Tucker. I love that doggy. All right, guys. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into the Hump Day Haul. And I have number one. I got a comic that came out last week. It was Suicide Squad Rebirth. Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Killer Croc, Katana, among others. I'm not going to read this because I saw the movie. I went to the movie Friday. I was going to say opening night, but now movies actually open on Thursday. And I don't want to ruin it. I kind of, want to see how the comic book does it differently. And full disclosure, I've never read Suicide Squad. But after seeing the movie, it definitely piqued my interest. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about Suicide Squad and how I feel it has been unfairly panned by critics. As of now, it stands at a 26 on Rotten Tomatoes, and if you know anything about Rotten Tomatoes, that's 26 out of 100 percentile. It's horrible. I mean, we're talking Fantastic Four status, which I think got something like a 14. So it's getting close to that. 40% on Metacritic. But thankfully, the fans and moviegoers have not been paying attention to that, because in its first 5 days, Suicide Squad has made about $161 million. It's broken the box office for an opening in the month of August. And it's doing very, very well in that regard. Now, you may say month of August, it's kind of, the summer movie season is already winding down. It doesn't really have that much competition. Regardless, the point is that I think that people are really listening to their gut, listening to word of mouth, because everybody that I have talked to, and several people where I work, I have several people that are comic book fans, both of DC and Marvel alike, so, fanboyism aside, and they've all agreed that this movie was very unfairly panned. And I almost feel like maybe the critics just didn't understand it. Believe it or not, when Fight Club first came out, that movie was pretty universally panned as well, if you can believe that. And that now is regarded as a cult classic. Now, will this movie go to cult classic status? Maybe. But I want to say that it definitely is not deserving of the 26 on Metacritic. I would kind of place it more in a C+, B- range. It had its faults, okay? Suspect editing, pace of story, too much exposition, frantic exposition in the beginning of the movie, where the first 15 minutes was really trying to give very brief synopsis of most of the characters in the movie. There were so many people in this Suicide Squad that a few of the characters, who Slipknot, the guy who can climb anything, I mean, is that really a superpower? And Katana were introduced about a half hour into the movie, and they were very, very underdeveloped, and Slipknot was barely even in the movie. He got out of the movie as soon as he came in. So, serious underdevelopment in that regard. And also, there was a prison guard in the movie. Oh, God, what was his name? I wrote it down, too. There was a prison guard. I think his name was Griggs, okay, played by Ike Barinholtz. And the thing about Griggs, he's a pretty funny character. And the way he was introduced in the movie is that you would see Deadshot in prison, and also Harley Quinn, and he was, teasing and antagonizing them. And they really established that Griggs and these characters, Deadshot and Harley Quinn, had quite a bit of a history. And that just abruptly ended about 45 minutes into the movie. There was a scene where Griggs, it was revealed that he had a serious gambling problem. And the only way that he could get out of it was by speaking to the Joker, and the Joker gave him a cell phone to give to Harley Quinn in prison. And the funny thing is, after Griggs gives Harley Quinn the cell phone, she says to him, "Oh, you're in big, big trouble. You're going to get in big trouble for this," or something to that effect. And then we never see the Griggs character again. So I was kind of like, well, that ended quite abruptly. the main villain, the Enchantress, and her brother that she brought back to life, Incubus, kind of cheesy, kind of corny. He just goes and starts tearing up Midway City, I believe it was called, and never really gave a reason for it. They simply said, well, we once were worshipped by humans, so now humans worship machines. I guess, that's commentary on our incessant need of being, glued to our cell phones and computers and social media. So they decide that they are going to construct a machine, and then the humans are going to worship us again. So it was just kind of a very convoluted reasoning behind the main villains. Now, the good things about this movie was I might say her name wrong. I don't know if it's Margot Robbie, Margaret Robbie. She played Harley Quinn. She absolutely knocked it out of the park. I mean, it was just everything that has ever been imagined in my head about Harley Quinn just came to realization. And Margaret Robbie really put her heart and soul into this film in terms of preparation physically. Now, they may have had one too many ass shots, of her in her hot pants. Very, very objectified. Okay, all right, whatever. But she was funny. She was very, very funny and just really captured, that sense of funniness, charm, and sheer lunacy, sheer off-the-hookness. Will Smith, who I am no big fan of, did wonderful as Deadshot, and he actually came up with the moniker of the squad, Suicide Squad. He was great. The interplay between him and Harley, they really became the two main characters in the film, at least amongst the squad members, did great. Joel Kinnaman, who was in place as Captain Flag, he was kind of a special ops officer of this Task Force X that was kind of put in place to keep the Suicide Squad in line. They also had like bombs or something in their necks. Reminded me very much of, Kyle Rayner in Omega Man, to keep them in line. And then also the woman, Viola Davis, who played Amanda Waller, who was the leader of, the government. She did great. She was absolutely brutal. So some of the characters were very, very good. And moreover, it was funny. It was a funny movie. And I laughed a lot, and a lot of the people that were in the theater also laughed. So I don't know if these critics just didn't get it. I don't know if, they were older, 40s, 50s, 60s reviewing this film, and they just might not have gotten it. But the crowd I was in the theater in with laughed out loud. I mean, there were several, and I'm not talking about, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I mean, dozen times or more. Very, very laugh out loud, funny moments. Most so when Killer Croc was demanding to watch BET, and I got to admit that cracked me up as well. So I don't know why it's been unfairly criticized. I don't know if it's that, Marvel, which is now the gold standard of superhero films. I beg to differ. I think that the Dark Knight trilogy was magnificent. I don't know. People were upset about the Joker. One fan, I think in the UK, is trying to sue the film company for false advertising, saying that Joker wasn't in the film enough. I mean, come on, get a life, dude. Get a life. Jared Leto's Joker I didn't think was that bad. I wanted to see more of it. The unfortunate part of it was that Joker was almost like an ancillary character in this piece. He wasn't with the Suicide Squad, and most of the interaction that you had with the Joker was in the form of flashbacks between him and Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was back to her old ways, being hopelessly and shamelessly in love with the Joker, which, was a bitter pill to swallow, especially for me as a reader of the Harley Quinn comics you know that if you've been reading Harley Quinn has been doing her best to distance herself from the Joker. I don't remember the exact issue number, but I think it was issue 26, in which she made in unequivocal terms that she wanted nothing to do with Mr. J anymore when they embraced in the prison cell, and she literally bit off a big chunk of his lower lip. Yeah, that wasn't, foreplay. So that was a bit disappointing, and moreover, though, it was very underdeveloped. You just kind of had to accept, as always, that Harley Quinn, is just super infatuated with the Joker. She fell in love with him when she was Harleen Quinzel, working as a psychologist or psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum. I would love to see a movie, an offshoot of Harley Quinn and the Joker, or at least a graphic novel that maybe goes into much more in depth how the Joker was able to seduce Harley Quinn in Arkham Asylum. Because I feel that, at least with all the comics that I've read about, and I might be wrong, like I said, I don't know everything about comics, maybe I've missed something, if anyone out there knows, recommend it, but I felt that in all the comics that I've ever read involving those two, that's something that's never been fully fleshed out. Why? What exactly did Joker do to seduce Harleen Quinzel to the degree that she was just so helplessly infatuated with him, to the point where she would allow herself to be severely abused? I guess I want to see more in depth of the seduction of that. But all I want to say is, don't listen to the critics. If you want to see this movie, go see this movie. And I really want to hear from you guys down below what you thought of the Suicide Squad. And also, if you read the comic book, how faithful was it to the comic? Was it pretty accurate or not? Like I said, I'm going to leave it as a surprise. Now, enough about talking about movies. Let's get on to the haul, people. We got All-Star Batman #1. Hasn't Batman been a dark and barren place without Scott Snyder as the writer? Unfortunately, Greg Capullo is not going to be teaming up here with Scott Snyder, but it's going to be John Romita Jr. He had a crazy run on Superman in New 52. Kind of controversial in the sense that a lot of people aren't very keen on Romita. They don't really like his artwork all that much. This is a wacky issue. It's the start of a Two-Face Batman road trip across country. They're going to try to, I guess, iron out their differences. What's interesting is you're seeing Batman in broad daylight, out in rustic rural settings. And, he's got to come to terms with some things with Two-Face. This is going to be an interesting vehicle for Scott Snyder because it's going to allow him to team up with various artists in the DC universe. And moreover, I guess he's going to explore a lot more villains that he's never really had a chance to work with and draw. So I'll be interested to see how this goes. There's also a backstory in this featuring his artwork of Declan Shalvey. I'm not familiar with who that is. And it kind of follows him with Duke Thomas, the new Robin, so to speak. So it's a nice little 8-page gallivanting of those two, and it kind of will further forge their relationship, which I also feel is severely underdeveloped. I am disappointed in DC because they were doing an incredible run of giving us great $2.99 comics, including the 80-page Rebirth to kick it all off. But look at that, $5, dude. $5. What the happened, DC? And I hope that this isn't a continuation of that. I really thought that they were going to be sticking solid to that $2.99 price point for quite some time. Now, granted, I guess this is a little bit bigger than a regular issue, and the cover is a bit higher quality. Nonetheless, still disappointing, DC. God damn it. All right. On to Superman Action Comics, number 961. We still don't get any further answer as to who that mysterious hooded character is that's kind of overseeing this issue after issue after issue long battle between Superman and Doomsday. It's kind of getting to the point where it's a bit redundant, you know. I feel like I'm walking into a time warp now every time I read this freaking thing. I guess the big deal about this issue is that it very strongly mimics a lot of the panels in the classic first showdown between Superman and Doomsday way back in the 90s in Superman number 75. So, go figure, dude. I don't know. Is that worth enough for your price of entry? Again, we're seeing Lois Lane getting all riled up, as is his son Jonathan. He actually enters into the fray and does battle with Papa against Doomsday. The human Clark Kent and Lex Luthor, who's really taken a major back seat in this series so far. I really thought that Lex was going to be featured a bit more in here, especially because he's claiming to be the Superman now of Metropolis. Him and the human Clark Kent actually investigate Doomsday's ship, so who knows what that will uncover. But yeah, it's getting, you know, it's kind of like we're getting the point here. You know, Doomsday is a tough mofo. Superman has a hard time. But I want answers, man. I want to know who this mysterious, cloaked, hooded character is that is this overseer of what is going on here. And we still don't get any big answers, so I'm still waiting for that, peeps. All right, on to Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns, number 2. And this is Sinestro's Law, part 2. Yes, the Green Lanterns have returned from that other universe they were trapped in for, like, in literal time over the past year. So it's good to see the Green Lantern Corps reunited, but the Green Lantern Corps, the forces are decimated, folks. Remember, there's over 7,200 Green Lanterns in the known universe. Well, after this extraction of the lanterns into a different place and different time, only about 400 of those 7,200 lanterns have returned. Yeah, the census is way down low. Now, Hal Jordan is still trying to figure out what the heck is going on. He's kind of interrogating different Yellow Lanterns. He's learned that the Yellow Lanterns are now the cosmic police force. They've controlled the universe. They're controlling the universe. Sinestro has unleashed Parallax once again. He actually made a deal with Parallax to make him young again. If you read issue number 1, Sinestro was in rough shape, man. He was old looking. He was decrepit. But he made a deal with Parallax to become young again. And hopefully this will pick up. John Stewart right now is controlling the Green Lanterns. Guy Gardner is there as well. He's still a bit unhinged and unruly in true Guy Gardner fashion. But I'm hoping that it picks up. I'm hoping that it picks up, and I can't wait to see a classic Green Lantern Sinestro, Hal Jordan versus Sinestro showdown. So, number 2, Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. All right, Detective Comics, number 938. Batman and his crew continue to do battle against Jacob Kane, Colonel Jacob Kane, who has control of a military-backed force of Batmen known as the Colony. Now, we get a nice intro here in the beginning. The artwork here by Alvaro Martinez is phenomenal, man. This opening sequence between him and a young Batwoman, Kate Kane, just looks fantastic, man. I really like the coloring as well. The coloring looks great in this. Looks like they're at Arlington Cemetery. Gives a little bit of a backstory regarding the Colonel and also how he came to be head of this colony force of Batman. Batman and the new crew, you know, who consists of what? Spoiler, Orphan, Red Robin, Clayface, Batwoman. They end up doing battle against the colony in the colony's headquarters. We also get nice glimpses of what each member of this Bat clan has to offer. So we get to see them in battle, get to see them utilize their skills. I'm particularly fond of Clayface, man. I really want to learn more about Clayface because he was once a actor, I guess. Very good-looking dude, you know. It's kind of like the Mickey Rourke story, you know. All that shit that happened to poor Mickey. But it will be interesting to see if Kate Kane can stay sided with Batman or if she's going to change her allegiance over to her father, the Colonel. I believe that's Orphan. Yeah. All right. So, Batman Detective Comics, honorable mention for the artist, Alvaro Martinez, doing great work in this series. And I've really been pleasantly surprised. I didn't think that I was going to really latch on to the Batman team concept, but I'm really enjoying it. All right, on to Wonder Woman number 4. This continues the story of Wonder Woman Year 1. This is Year 1, Part 2. And it really explores the origin story of Wonder Woman. I don't know if it's exactly a retelling. I read an interesting article regarding the origin stories of Wonder Woman, and there hasn't really been one theme that's really been set for Wonder Woman. Right? When you think of Superman and Batman's origin stories, you know, they're iconic. They're iconoclast, right? Whenever you see an exploding planet and a spaceship rocketing away from it, you think of Superman. When you see a string of pearls ripped from a person's neck and those pearls scattering on the pavement, you think, yes, that's Batman. You don't really have that with Wonder Woman. You know, Wonder Woman, there's different stories. One origin story was that she was the offspring of Zeus and Amazon Queen Hippolyta. I can't say these names. Another one that she was brought to life. She was a clay child and was brought to life by the gods. So there's been all kinds of different stuff. What we do learn in this issue, though, is tons of new details about the Amazonian society that she's a part of. Also, we learn much more about the influence of, who is that guy? Steve Trevor, the man from Argus. You know, his plane goes through some kind of time warp and he ends up crash landing in Wonder Woman's world. And it kind of shows how that had profound effects on Diana. Now, if you remember in New 52, Wonder Woman's main squeeze was Superman. So this is kind of a return to form for Wonder Woman. Because I guess in past reiterations of Wonder Woman, she's definitely been involved more with Steve than Superman. The artwork in this also is fantastic. You have Nicola Scott. She's a Australian artist. Does a great job in here. It's kind of very, like, not a lot of shading, right? Very kind of clean lines. But I love it. I first got a glimpse of her work in Image Comics Black Magica, and or is it Black Magic? I can't remember. But just great stuff, man. So I'm looking forward to learning as much about Wonder Woman as I can. And remember, there are 2 stories going on. The odd number issues are dealing with Wonder Woman's Lies storyline. And this is the even numbers dealing with Year 1 storyline. All right, on to Jade Yang, New Superman number 2. And who is this? This is New Batman and New Wonder Woman. Yes, the Chinese, and I'm not making this up, the Chinese versions of the Justice League. Now, I don't know if this is commentary about, you know, like bootleg Chinese products, right? When you're down in NYC, you try to get some bootleg Versace pants or whatever you get down there, bootleg sneakers. I don't know if that's like a joke, an inside joke. If I'm being racist, I apologize. It's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just wondering what Gene Yang is getting at here with this Chinese Justice League. Kenan Kong is the new Superman. He's a teenage boy. He's a bully. Okay, if you read the first issue, he is not the most endearing character. He's actually an asshole. The series opens up with him picking on a very chubby kid. And he's not nice. And we also learn that his father's a dick, which probably explains why he's a bully, right? So I guess the challenge is, are we going to be able to, you know, form an attachment to this character, considering that he is such a jerk? Now, there's this Dr. Omen who has imbibed him with these superpowers. There's a bit of a rift between those two. She wants him to do her bidding, and he's given a little bit of a pushback, so it'll be interesting to see where that goes. I'm willing to give this issue, this comic, the first arc, and then we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. So there's also the introduction of a new character, a new villain in here named Sunbeam. And yeah, he torches New Superman's head. But I don't think that's really going to have much of an effect on New Superman because, you know, he kind of does that flame on, flame off power like the Human Torch. All right, and that's the end of the DC section of the haul. I got one issue from Marvel, and this is the penultimate issue, folks, of Gillian's and Salvador LaRocca's Darth Vader. It is ending, folks, at issue 25. And this, you may want to regard it as kind of the ghost, the Ebenezer Scrooge of Darth Vader comics, because Darth Vader is visited by 3 ghosts from his past. Now, why is he in this mindset? Why is he in this metaphysical realm? Well, in the last issue, Silo, who is this guy who constructs cybernetic organisms, he also crafted Darth Vader's suit 20 years ago. You know, after Vader got into that fight with Ben Kenobi and got seriously messed up in episode 3, Silo was the dude that made Vader's suit. And it turns out that for 20 years, he was carrying the kill switch in Vader's suit. And at the end of last issue, he activated that kill switch, and it answered the question that Silo had. For 20 years, I've been wondering, Vader, if you are more man or machine. And I guess the kill switch gave him his answer, because Vader seriously depowered. Look, man, he is just in his head. He is in his head, folks, in the metaphysical realm. And he gets visited by 3 ghosts. Now, can you think of who the 3 most influential people are in Vader's past? Here he is. This is great. They flash back to when he was on that lava planet where he got seriously messed up by Kenobi, if you remember, right? Didn't Kenobi, if I recall, Jesus, I haven't seen that movie since it came out, but didn't he, like, cut off his legs and cut off his arms? I mean, he seriously effed him up. So he starts to see images of Ben Kenobi, right? Has episodes of Ben Kenobi. Also, he's imagining coming out of the lava as Darth Vader. Ben Kenobi are one of the folks that visit him. Padme also pays a visit to him, and if you remember, as Anakin, he was so deeply in love with Padme. I mean, they had a child together, right? Twins. So he's visited by her, but then most of all, he's visited by his former self. And I'm not going to show you guys that. Will he be able to break the trance? Will he be able to break out of the kill switch that Silo has him under? I'm not going to ruin it for you guys, but I think you guys probably have the answer. Vader, Darth Vader, pick it up, man. You're running out of time. It's been a genuinely good run. It's been a fun run. I'm going to hate to see the series go. On to Dark Horse Comics. I got Life and Death, Prometheus, number 3 of 4, written by Dan Abnett. And admittedly, I'm a bit behind on this series, man. I'm a bit behind. Where it was last left off, we had the Colonial Marines were on a ship with the Prometheus creatures, the engineers. And think aliens, think the first Alien movie, but with an engineer as the killer, not a xenomorph. Yeah, there's the engineer, you know, coming out of his pod. He's not very happy. He's groggy. What I'm hoping is that we're going to learn a lot more information regarding the engineers and their connection to the xenomorphs. Great artwork in here by Andrea Muddy. Also the coloring by Rain Barreto. Excellent, excellent job. And I got to catch up. That's all I got to say. I have no excuse. One of the big challenges of my Hump Day haul is that I have a serious backlog, and you know, it makes me question whether or not it's worth it to go on, because I'm just so far behind. I mean, I'm almost getting triple digits. But that's for another episode. All right, on to Dark Horse Comics. My other issue, Cullen Bunn's Gothic, Southern Gothic tale. Tyler Crook doing amazing artwork. Harrow County, number 15. In this issue, Emma learns more about her powers, about her cooking, serving human heads to this coven of witches. She learns more about her family. She learns more about being part of a coven of witches, much like her mother. There they are, formed out of the mud. But she learns that her powers that she is going to inherit from her mother, her witchly powers, are going to come at a great price. So it'll be interesting to find out what that price is going to be. And I just love the artwork, man. Look at this motley crew. This motley cast of characters. And if one thing that Cullen Bunn can nail in this series, it certainly is characterization. And this is a type of comic, a type of genre that Cullen Bunn really excels in. I mean, this is his jam here. And yeah, it's in the flesh, people. Flesh-eating witches. So yeah, come aboard. It's not too late. Not too late to come aboard for Harrow County. All right. About to give the final verdict on this beer. About 45 minutes in. Let's see how it tastes with a nice warm-up. Well, much more prominent with the malts at this point. For a final score, I'd probably give this about a B. I'd say about a B. Yeah, we're looking at about an 85. Pretty solid beer. Not sure if I would session it, but certainly for maybe 1 or 2. Not bad. But I still think Dogfish Head 90 IPA is the golden standard for IPAs. Just throwing that out there. All right. And finally, from Image Comics, we have Birthright number 18. This is a great issue, man. You're looking at the Rhodes family in action here. The Rhodes family is just really coming together, man. And I might be doing a major spoiler here because I'm going to show you the back page, but I'm going to cover it up. The Rhodes family is really coming together. There's Mikey. There's his father and his brother Brennan in the background, and then Grandpa, who is a mage. He's actually Samuel. Last issue, we learned that Brennan, Mikey's older brother, is a mage. That he has his own powers. There he is, up in the sky. Powerful stuff, because for the longest time, Brennan has had to sit kind of in the sidelines and kind of watch things unfold with Mikey. Mikey has been dealing with a lot of shit. Mainly the Nevermind that was this apparition, this creature that was infecting his body. It is now separated from him, and this is what it looks like. There's the Nevermind, right? Kind of looks like a very evil version of Mikey in the front. See, there's Mikey there. Thor style, Nevermind style. All right, get it? So it's separated from its body, physically manifested, and now Brennan, who has been imbibed with his new mage powers, goes head-to-head against this Nevermind. Big stuff. Also, Grandpa, who is a mage, Samuel, powerful in his own right, continues to do battle against his old buddy Enoch, who also is a mage. So they're doing serious battle with one another. It just keeps getting better and better. The great thing is that I love seeing the family come together, because if one thing in this series, the first, 15 issues of it, really kind of showcased how dysfunctional and broken the Rhodes family was, simply because their child, Mikey, disappeared. The whole premise behind this story, I know it's kind of strange. Mikey disappeared when he was a very small child. I believe he was like 4 or 5 or something. And he disappeared for a whole year, only to reemerge as this hulking brute that we see right here, Conan style. Mom didn't believe it when he came back. Mom wasn't buying it. Dad was. Dad became a true believer. There were certain things that Conan the Mikey said that Dad just connected with, and he just knew in his heart of hearts that yes, this was his son. Mom, not so much. Amazing world building in this. I mean, if you love fantasy, if you love high fantasy, the world of Terinos, that was the world that Mikey got sucked into. It just gets fleshed out more and more in this series, and the world of Terinos and the world of Earth continue to intertwine more and more in this series. All right, folks, that's it. That's the big 100. I almost got a triple-double issue out for you. We're at about 54 minutes and counting, so I did my best, and I hope that you were entertained. Let me know what you're reading, what you're liking, what you're disliking. Let me give you a cover of the 100. The number 100 cover of the week. And unfortunately, none of these issues were really that great. Nothing really stood out to me. I don't know, man. Alright, I'm going to go with this, just because, the Green Lanterns are back. It's not really the best cover, but, Alright, dudes, any suggestions, feedbacks, or comics are much appreciated. And I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope we get to 100 more. Alright, guys, peace. Have a great day.